Okay, fantastic. While we wait for Richard to, um, get sort his system or his device out, welcome everyone to this session on accelerating your technical competence and performance at work. So this is one of our sort of sessions, 5 weekend sessions we intend to do during the course of the summer. And hopefully those that joined us last week when we kicked it off, hopefully they, had some good takeaways from those sessions. So Richard was with us last week to discuss joining the Big Fools. Um, and he's here also now to talk to us about accelerating our technical competence, and hopefully we'll have good takeaways from there. While we wait for Richard, so Richard, I'm just going to wait for you to, once I can hear you, I'm just going to stop talking. Um, so I've just had a couple. I'll just run through a couple of things we should sort of keep in mind. And I know it's not going to be totally different from what Richard will be speaking to us about. So technical competence is a really, really, really major stuff at work. So other than your sort of soft skills and your ability to deal with other people in terms of relationships and all of that, your ability to deliver the work you have been employed to do is really, really key. And a lot of people, okay, I feel
All
like I
right.
can hear Richard now. Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Thank you very much. So
Yeah,
you can
I'm
go
just
ahead.
going to
Maybe you should
stop.
wrap up your statement first.
No, don't worry about me. I was just going to be saying a load of rubbish. So, Richard, please go ahead. Just because we've got an hour, nothing more, I'm very keen for you to have all the time you need to run this session. Okay?
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for having me once again. Um, we are back again this weekend with another session on accelerating technical performance, right? But I've added a small word to tweak it a bit, saying accelerating technical competence and performance at work, right? So this is a weekly group mentoring that is organized by Orelua, and this is of course free. I know many of you joined via Google Meet, so you can know that you are not paying for it. So I want you to also take advantage of it, right? Many times when things are free like this, people do not really know the value. But when you go out there, you know how much people are paying for this kind of sessions. So without wasting much of our time, the objective of the session would be shown in the next slide. Please confirm you can see my slide. Moving to the next slide now.
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you very much. So yeah, quickly, let me tell you guys one gist before I go on to the session. So what if I told you that I started preparing this slide around 4:40 p.m. 4:40 p.m. I was thinking that the program will start by 6, which actually start by 6, but because I was considering European time, Nigerian time, so I thought maybe 5 p.m. it was going to start. And I was just trying to change the early one that please is it starting by 5 or 6 p.m. But I could not reach out. But then luckily I was able to come up with this slide. And I'm sure by the time you see the slide all through, you'll be wondering how this guy came up with it from scratch. I actually do not have any template anywhere. Came up with it from scratch. And that is speaking to what we are going to be talking about today on competency and performance. Right. So in this session, the learning objective would be for participants to understand the key components of technical performance. Second one is to explore strategies for continuous learning and skill development. Another is to learn effective goals and planning techniques to become high performing professional. And finally, to discover methods to overcome challenges and boost technical performance. Right. So now when I'm telling you that I prepared the slides within 20-30 minutes, it's not like the entire content was prepared within those minutes, right? I already have them in my head just to put up something so that the last time we had the session, I knew that we could not come up with a slide, right? So I wanted to be more interactive this time. So moving on to the next key things here. So many of you have seen this guy. I actually tried so much to search for his name, but I could not find it. But you know, this guy is actually a banker from information I got, right? And he was not really into advertising and the likes, but you know, his face got featured in one webinar like that, and subsequently, people started reaching out to him for adverts. Come and present yourself in this session. Come and help us to be the face of this program. And like that. If you see this guy's picture now, anywhere you see him, can somebody tell me? Anytime you see this guy's picture, what do you see? Anybody at all? Anytime you see this guy's picture, what comes to mind?
Something like a corporate advert.
Corporate advert, yes. Any other person? Yeah, now I want it to be interactive so that we all learn from it. Okay, it's like nobody's talking again. All right, so another thing that comes to mind when you see this guy's picture is job advertisement. If you would agree with me, you see job advert. So, what I'm trying to bring out from it is that you can become a special, how would I put it now? A specialty, right? A specialist in a particular field just by putting in all your best in that particular field. And that is like what we are talking about today. We want to be looking at how to build technical competence around a particular skill and how to also accelerate your performance on the job. Now, what we have here is say an introduction. Technical competence describes an area of knowledge or skill that is useful in a particular industry, job responsibilities, right? Technical competency describes an area of knowledge or skill that is useful in a particular industry, job responsibilities. And what this simply means is that your technical expertise, like I was discussing with one of my mentees earlier today, and she mentioned that is it that we have such a huge scarcity of tax professionals that everywhere she just turns to like this, she sees tax specialists needed, tax professionals needed, right? Now, it's not because we have shortage of skills in that area. It's just because we don't have people that are competent in that area, right? So I sent out about nothing less than 10 CVs for different tax roles this week, and the recruiter got back to me today and said, Richard, out of everybody you said, I did not get anybody. I was surprised that how come we don't have at least one person out of 10. Everybody's ACA, BS, ACA, BS, and none of them could meet the requirement of the role. So meaning that beyond that certification, the technical competency is needed, right? So now I've gone further to also put a part of introduction to say that different industries requires diverse skills for candidates. So employers emphasize different competencies depending on the product or service they offer, right? If you are going to the big four now, they can't be asking you that you know how to open generator, you know how to repair a car. They won't be asking you all these questions because it doesn't specifically that's not like this area of specialization that you'll be focusing on the job. So your technical competency should be channeled towards your area of specialization. So as more industries began to continue to emerge, some will be requiring you to become a data analyst, some will require you to become an accountant, some a tax specialist, some a professor, engineer, and the likes, right? So depending on that industry you're going into, you need to build the relevant competency that is required in that skills, in that unit or in that division. So moving on, the mastery of functional and technical skills, right, is essential for all professionals to become a skilled employee in various fields. So the mastery of functional and technical skills is essential, of course, for everyone to become skilled employee in their various fields. Now, the final point here, before I move to the other key areas, says that technical competency is therefore the knowledge and abilities required to apply specific technical principle and information in a job function or role. Don't let me use grammar. Let me just break it down because somebody's wondering like, what are you guys saying? So technical competency, according to how it has been defined there, says that it is the ability to apply specific technical principles and information in a job role or job function or role. So meaning that if I'm an accountant, I should be able to apply the principle of IFRS 15 in revenue recognition, right? If I'm a consultant, I should be able to apply the principle of IFRS 16 in my lease computation. Sorry, I'm using accounting terms, but of course, what do you expect? You don't expect me to be talking about stethoscope and the like, right? So, but of course, what I'm trying to bring out from it is that your area of specialization, you need to have the specific technical principles, which can either be gotten from schools, from personal learnings, on the job. Okay, don't let me give you all the hints. It's still part of what I'm going to talk about. So you need to develop that technical expertise, right? Which is a key part of what we are talking about today. Now, moving on to the next slide. So yeah, I've mentioned here. Say technical competency. If you look at the last point here, says technical competency can either be learned in an educational environment or on the job, and they are also the words of performing the job. Technical competency can either be learned in an educational environment or on the job, right? And they also define the what, that is, what do you do? What is your skills of performing the job? Now, moving to the next slide. So, why do I need to have technical competency? Why technical competency? Now, according to the US Department of Labor, employees, like I'm just trying to give you guys an insight, right? According to the US Department of Labor, employees should attain 3 levels of basic competency before they can start building technical competencies. The first level entails the general attributes of effective employees, such as reliability, dependability, interpersonal skills, and professionalism. If you are interviewing for any roles, maybe let me just use outside Nigeria, because in Nigeria they are focused more on book, right? But ideally, if you are interviewing for a role in a structured environment, they won't just be testing your skills alone, they will be testing other soft skills. And that is part of what is being mentioned here. One of them is your reliability, dependability, interpersonal skills, and professionalism. How would you approach each of these areas? How will you approach your ethics aspect of the work? How would you approach it, right? So now the next item, according to the US Department of Labor, is that the next level covers your academic competencies, such as computer skills and writing, and workplace competencies like problem solving and teamwork. Now, the funny part is that these things that I've mentioned so far, they are still the basic aspects, meaning that irrespective of the role or job or industry you find yourself, these 2 first level, they are like basic, that is required of every professional to have. Now, the last level of competency that is required of you is the on-the-job competency. On-the-job competency, which is the core focus of our discussion today. So, what is that on-the-job competency? So, we'll be moving on to the next slide. So, now, before I talk about the key components that I've highlighted here, it's important to know that on-the-job competency is the main reason why an employer would employ you. That is the main reason why they gave you the job. And at any point you cannot deliver on that role, you are likely to either remain stagnant or be asked to leave, because no employer will want to continue paying or, of course, giving you salary when they know that you cannot deliver what they wanted. So the key takeaway from that is that you must know the core crux of why you are doing the job you are doing. So, for example, I remember one of my roles, I was employed as an accounts payable and tax specialist. And along the line, the person doing the accounts receivable resigned, and I had to take up the accounts receivable function also. So, and I was heading all the 3 departments: accounts payable, receivables, finance, and I was even doing a bit of treasury, right? Now, when I got to my new role, all these things came in handy because I've developed technical competency over the period I was doing them. What this means is that there is nothing that is a waste, right? Every single thing we do on the job, nothing is a waste, even to the extent of you helping your manager to build up a slide, you helping your boss to do some things, right? None of them is a waste, because there will be a day that even you yourself will be in a position to need those things. What I'm doing now it might look like I'm volunteering, of course, which is it is, but trust me, when it is time for me to do it as a job function in my organization, it will not cost me anything because I've built technical expertise around it. So, and that brings us to the key component of technical competency. What are the things that helps you, right? That are like standard that will help you to achieve technical competency. One of them is knowledge. Now, knowledge can be gotten from anywhere. Knowledge can be obtained from, like I was talking with somebody recently that, do you know that a young graduate that has not gone to, let me say, young school leaver, for secondary school leaver that has not gone to the university, right, can go to an accounting firm and become an apprentice, and he will know it so well than somebody that went to the university and did not go to the accounting firm, right? So that is the place of knowledge. You cannot dispute the place of knowledge. Knowledge means that just having an idea about something, right? Knowing that it exists. And that is very important for every professional. And like I always say in many of my speech, know something about everything and everything about something, right? I'm an accountant. That does not mean that I should not know that if my car is doing overheating, I should park and, put water and, wait for the water to cool down and pour water on it. So at least I have an idea about what to do. So same thing applies to every other person in every profession. You must have idea about at least something about everything. The fact that you are not an accountant does not mean that if they paid you, they agree that they are going to pay you 70,000 as a salary. Then when they were going to pay you, they paid you 50,000. And I said, well, I'm not an accountant. Maybe 50K, 70K too. So of course you won't say that, right? Because you know something about what that money means. So it's important to have knowledge about what you are doing on the job. Now, the second thing is skills. This one is very important. Many people lack skills. Beyond knowledge, right? You need to be able to apply that knowledge. Application of that knowledge, like many people will say, is what? The skills that you now have, right? You can see somebody that, for example, now I don't like football. I don't watch football, right? But I know people that watch football. They watch it very well. They watch it to the extent that they can tell you what the next move will be. But give them football to play, they cannot play it. Right? So I know it does not mean I can do it. So being able to do it is now that intentionality behind the knowledge you have. Being able to apply it as a skills is very, very important and cogent. Wow, the time is running very fast. This is already 6:21. Right? So moving on very fast. Experience also comes into place. Now, when you have developed the skills, of course, you've built experience over the time. And that is why some people, when they leave school, they quickly get some job very fast. Not because they've had plenty of experience, but over the period they were in school, they were building skills. So experience becomes something they already possess. Now, efficiency, technical competency, the word efficiency or the word technical competency is not complete if there is no efficiency there. Right? So you can be very good, you can be fantastically, you know all the job, you know everything, but if you are not efficient, meaning that time management, being able to deliver when it is needed, then your technical skills is as good as not relevant. If you, as an auditor, for example, the client tells you, okay, we have 3 weeks for you to audit our accounts, and we need our report by the end of June. Then you now have skills, you're delivering, you're looking at it, different perspective. You look at the payables, you look at receivables, you spend 1 week. So by the time you've not even got into cash review that you're supposed to do. You've not done some key technical aspect of the work you're supposed to do, and the time has gotten exhausted. So at that point, your work becomes, how do I put it? It becomes irrelevant. One of the key metrics in financial statements or financial reporting is timeliness of the information you're providing. Right? If you are not able to deliver on time, then you are not seen as competent, even if you know the job. So you must know how to be efficient in delivery of your job. Very key. Now, the next part is learning. So, of course, like one of my lecturers would say when I was in school, say learning does not stop at a point. The day you stop learning is the day you start dying. You keep learning every day. Till your old age, you keep learning. Because learning is part of what would help you to grow. When I saw some pastors, like when my pastor was talking about threads on Sunday. I was like, how this man quickly know about Threads? I don't know if anybody know about Threads here. Right, that's like an app that was released by Instagram and Meta. So when he was talking about Threads, I was like, Threads, why does this man quickly know about this thread like this? You know, the fact that he's old does not mean it should not be trendy. You should not know what is happening at the moment. So you must continue to learn as a professional. Then also productivity. This sums it up. Being able to deliver. If you are efficient and you're not productive, it's possible that you're efficient and not productive. Productive in the sense that you finish a work very fast, and then you left it. Then there are so many others that are left behind to be done, but nobody is doing it. Then it's as good as saying that you are only just biased, or how do I put the word now? But you understand what I'm trying to say. When you have 10 tasks to be done and you finish the first one very fast because you want to be efficient, and then you left the others and say, okay, I'll do this one tomorrow, I'll do this one next tomorrow. So being productive means that being able to deliver as much as possible. So productivity is always being measured more in the manufacturing sector. When they say for every 10 tons that you deliver today, you get 5,000 naira. So you see people delivering more. So that in that situation, you see efficiency and productivity playing together. You deliver very fast and you deliver more output too. So those are key areas you need to watch out for in building your technical competency. Now, next slide there, I have how to increase your technical competency. So interestingly, I will send my slide to Orelua so that she can forward to you guys. I know that some of these things are quite tiny, but I want to just summarize it so that I don't have plenty slides. So how to increase your technical competency? Number one, set small milestone and celebrate progress. So many times, many people set big goals, and those big goals are not, I would say, not realistic at times, or it takes longer time to achieve. So it's important to always break down your big goals into smaller goals. For example, when I wanted to start my ICANN, I said, okay, I was going to start with AAT, right? Now, then when I finish my ICANN, I'll go to my skills level and then professional. So what I did was that I started with this, what I can achieve first. I didn't say, let me wait. Some people say, let me wait till I finish school before I start ICANN, right? You can set the big goals too, right? But it must be you must be able to measure a milestone within that goal. Now, comparing it to the job. So when I was in KPMG, I was doing more because in your first level, you will not really be given technical work that much. You'll be doing something like background check, doing maybe a bit of data entry work, and all those things that will help you familiarize with the requirement of the job. Then subsequently, you grow into a next level where you can start doing all those technical aspects. But you know what I did that really stood me out, and which is verifiable, is that during that my first year, I started to ask my seniors, okay, how are you guys doing this thing? How do you do this task computation? What are the things that you usually add back? Then I started to know the sections of the law. And by knowing that, I was able to, now I'm linking it with the setting small milestones. I told myself that I want to learn the section 27. So for example, in Nigeria now, we have different sections of the law, right? So in CETA, let me go to technical. Let me just go straight to the point. So what I did was that I picked each of the tax laws, and I was saying that by this so week, I would have finished this tax law, such that if anybody asked me a question on this tax law, I'll be able to answer it. And my managers were just wowed. They were surprised that, wow, this guy, if you just mention anything like this section, so it's there. So now what I did was that I set small milestones for myself, and then I was able to achieve it. Now you also celebrate those progress. How do you do that? If you go to my LinkedIn, it's not like I said put it that I celebrate this thing, but celebrating it like reinforcing that knowledge, sharing what you have learned helps you to also retain the knowledge, right? So it's important that you break your big goals into smaller goals, and then also celebrate milestones as you achieve them. Number two is seek support from colleagues and mentors. So I have this particular junior colleague of mine who, when she came in, she was struggling with so many things. When you send work, she will not deliver. Everybody was complaining about her. So she just reached out to me. Richard, how can I do this? Okay, I think what you can do is weekend, right? There is usually no mail pressure. Like mails coming in right and left during weekends are reduced. So you use your weekend to understand the technical aspect of the job. Then I personally sent some tasks to this person. Okay, do this, send this to me for review over the weekend. And before you know it, this person, now when you send work, within 1 hour, 2 hours, it's already turned around. So when you're having challenges on the job, you must learn to seek support from colleagues, speak out, reach out to your mentors, right? Very important. Now, the third thing I put here is expand your knowledge and skill set. Very important. I was watching one movie yesterday, and the bottom line of the movie is that the fact that everybody thinks that this is the only way to do this thing does not mean that's the only way to do it, right? So you must come up with a questioning mindset, expand your knowledge by and skill set by coming up with questioning mindset. Why is this like this? Why can't we do it like this? Why don't we do it like this? And that way you are perceived to have more technical competency even in the organization and the environment. Now, another thing is practice self-reflection and adaptation. This one is very key too. So you need to self-reflect on yourself, identify areas that require attention. For example, when I started financial reporting, I wasn't doing it for any organization, I was doing it for myself. Now, when it now became a situation where I was doing it for others, I need to go and reach out to people that, please, this one I don't know how to do it. How do I do it? Right? How do I improve on this aspect? How do I apply the standards? And before you know it, all those IFRS that I know offhand, but which, because of the template that we're usually given, you know that most times when you are preparing work in these days, you are working with templates. So you don't really have your own input sometimes if you are working with templates. So that is why you need to practice self-reflection and adaptation. Think that, what if there's no template? If I'm to do this thing, how am I supposed to do it? And by doing that, you improve yourself internally, and you also consider so I also put here that you should consider documenting your observations, right, about yourself. Document it, put it down, so that you can work on those areas of weakness as time goes by. Now, number 5 point here is embrace a growth mindset. Embrace a growth mindset. Very important. So let me just read what I put here. It said adopting a growth mindset is crucial in overcoming challenges. Instead of viewing challenges as failures, see them as a stepping stone. So don't view challenges as failure. Your boss told you, "Oh, why did you do this like this?" No, of course, some boss can be very toxic. Don't worry. One of the sessions that Lou has planned is managing, I think, your boss in a toxic environment or something like that. So you guys, maybe as you follow, you would also be able to enjoy that session, maybe one of these weekends too. So, but what I'm trying to bring out here is that you must have an open mind, irrespective of the situation, irrespective of the challenges you are facing on the job. You must have an open mind. You must be able to question it that, okay, my boss is saying I should do this thing like this. Why? So, and when you see that it is becoming a challenge for you, for example, I was given a task one time like that to review a report that I don't even know how they prepared the report in the first place. And it's a very big project. And they were like, for me to be even be selected for that project, it means that they consider that I have all the experience to do the project. Now I had to go and read, research, and all those things. Initially, it was a challenge, but when I overcome it, subsequently, the next one that came up on board, I was the same person they gave that project to do. So what that means is that by embracing your challenges, by seeing them as an opportunity for growth, you are able to learn more, and you are able to also improve on it. So I also put it that this helped me during my professional exams. I'm also doing other tasks which others find unpleasant to do, right? So you are able to deliver on them. Now, prioritize self-care and work life. Prioritize your self-care and work life. What this means is that above all this thing that I've been saying since, you can be technically competent, right? But if you don't have a good or stable health, it will be a challenge also. Like if you give him this work now, this guy will not finish it before he falls sick. So you must prioritize your health care. Your health, work-life balance is very important. Take care of your physical and mental health. And of course, where there is the need to reach out for support, always do that. Now, moving on to the next point here. So the might about technical competencies. Some of the might you might encounter, right, around technical competency. Some will take technical performance is solely based on natural talent. Some will say, I don't know if you get that. Technical competence, some people will say that, some people have a perception that technical competence or technical performance is based on natural talent. And I think I've seen this quote before that says that if talent does not work hard, hard work will beat talent. I don't know if anybody has seen that. I think it's one of those books I've read. I can't remember the book now, but it says that if talent, okay, I think it's I'll remember the name of the book for you. Don't worry, I'll remember the name of the book so that you guys can read it. But it says that if talent does not work hard work will beat talent. Meaning that if you have talent and because of that you do not develop yourself, the person that is working hard on himself will eventually beat the person that have talent. So you must know how to, of course, that's a might. Don't think that because you don't have talent, does not mean that you cannot deliver technically. Now, next thing is technical performance is static and doesn't require ongoing improvement. That's a lie. Of course, you need to continually develop yourself to become technically competent. Some people would think that my boss, I have one of my managers who became a associate director and subsequently became a partner in one of the big four. This man, if you make mistake with comma in your words, in your letter you're writing, he will tell you to go and reprint it. He will circle it out. He will not tell you what happened to it. He will just circle it out and say, go and reprint it, go and work on it and send back. If it's 10 times you keep making different mistakes, he'll be pointing it out to you that this is what you should do. Now, what it means is that I'm trying to relate it to the second point, that technical competence is static and doesn't require ongoing improvement. So it requires that you continue to improve yourself. For you to be technically sound, you need to continually improve yourself, right? So another point, another might is that technical performance is independent of interpersonal skills and teamwork. Trust me, if you have a bad work ethic, if you don't know how to deal with others, if you are self-centered, you will not really enjoy. Even if you are good, people will not enjoy working with you. You will not even enjoy working in the environment because it will look very toxic to you. You will think that it's toxic just because you don't know how to, you don't have interpersonal skills. So interpersonal skills and teamwork is very crucial for you as a professional. Now, another point is, some people say that technical performance is solely measured by quantity of output. So that is not correct too. Like I mentioned earlier, it's not just the quantity, the quality also matters. So the fact that I did 10 task computation in one day, and then by the time the manager will review it, they see like 200 review comments. Then it's as good as saying that you just, because by the time you now start doing it all over again, you spend another 2 days to finish it. So don't just focus on the quantity of the output, focus on the quality of the output. Now, the last point I put here is that some people say that technical performance is separate from personal growth and well-being. It's a lie. So see that there is a sense of fulfillment that comes with when you are technically sound. I've gone for an interview, right? That the interview when I got to the interview team, the panel, all the team members, like I think I've said this before in one of the sessions, about 6 out of the 8 members that were interviewing me, they already know me from LinkedIn. And they were like, is it not you? So as they were asking the question, I was just answering them. They were like, wow, this guy is. In fact, one of them said it in the meeting that this guy is too good. Right? So, what I'm trying to say is that your personal growth, in terms of how you are, for example, this session I'm doing now, it's to you, it might be I'm training you. Well, it's also personal growth to me because personal self-development to me because I'm also improving myself, public speaking, in terms of knowledge base, in terms of reaching out to people, making impact. Personally, I'm also improving myself. So technical performance is not separate from your personal growth and well-being. It's a part of it, and that is why you need to start embracing it, right? So let me move to the next point. I think I want also have question and answer session, so I'll be very fast now. So goal setting I'm trying to look at relationship between goal setting and technical performance. So goal setting, I've just picked out a few points here. Professional growth and opportunities. So setting and achieving technical performance goals can lead to professional growth and increased opportunities. So once you have been able to make set a goal for yourself, right, and you have the right technical performance, you are able to do what? You are able to achieve professional growth and increase opportunities. So also, it helps to gain clarity and focus. So when you set clear goals, right, it helps you to achieve your objective from technical perspective, right? Then the other thing is that having technical capacity in terms of competence also helps you to develop motivation and commitment on the job. So many people are usually discouraged and demotivated. Okay, you can drop your questions on the chat box. So many people are usually discouraged and demotivated if they don't have the required technical skills. So trust me, it can be very, very annoying when you are given a job to do and you don't even know what to do. So it's important that you set a goal for yourself and develop technical competency around it. Measuring, so also another thing is that you are able to measure and track your progress when you have the right technical performance, technical skills and competencies. Also, you are able to develop accountability and responsibility. So I'm jumping all those points now so that you can move faster. I know we are almost done. So another aspect of it is time management and prioritization. So when you have technical competency, right, you are able to manage your time, you're able to set goal around what you want to achieve, and then you're able to deliver as appropriate. So let me give you an instance. If you are given 10 jobs now and you need to deliver those jobs before Friday, if you don't have the required technical skills, you cannot even estimate when you're going to finish the job. So that means having the required technical skills helps you to make some projections around your time management and also helps you to prioritize what you want to achieve in terms of the goals you're setting for yourself. So now, next part is stretching beyond comfort zones. So, of course, you must, it's only when you have met the target that you now start thinking of extending or saying that you want to achieve outside your comfort zone. So you must be able to develop that competency first before you now start talking about stretching beyond your comfort zone. Then lastly, when you have the required competency on the job, you are able to embrace continuous learning and improvement. So you continue to improve. Although this one is an ongoing, learning is of course ongoing and continuous. So you need to continue to improve yourself and increase your capacity. So let me see. Benefits of technical competencies. Okay, I think we are almost there. This is just second to the last. Yeah. So this is second to the last slide. The benefits of increased. Please, can someone confirm you can still hear me? I think I'm muted here. Can you hear me, please?
We can hear you.
All right. Thank you very much. Yes. So benefits of technical competency and its impact on performance. So I've just highlighted 5 benefits here, and I'll quickly run through them. The first one is increased efficiency and productivity. So when you have a required skills, right, it enables you to perform tasks efficiently and effectively, resulting in increased productivity and, of course, streamlined workflows. So another point is high quality outputs. If you have the required technical competency to prepare a financial statement, you will know when there's an issue with the FS. You will know, or even if you are reviewing it, if you have the required technical competency, you will know if there is a problem somewhere in the financial statement that you're preparing. Likewise for the tax aspect or for any other job, right? In fact, I've seen a doctor that you just look at the person's eye and say that this person is having malaria or having this. So you can build this level of technical competency such that you can know things from the surface without even going deep, right? And that is what some of our partners do when they see for example, I was giving somebody an instance, right? In Nigeria now, let me just use tax for example. Some certain companies, right, if you are within the first 4 years of operations, you are exempted from minimum tax payment. So when the partner just picked the FS and said, wow, this is very, and the tax computation, like, this is fantastic. Okay, when did they incorporate this company? Said, okay, 2021. They said 2021. So why are you guys computing minimum tax? So that is high level competence. That is, every other thing you have done is correct, but just one thing, you will spot it because of the level of expertise. So when you have technical competence, you are able to deliver high quality outputs, right, on the job. Now, another thing is that you become a go-to person for solutions, right? In your office, in your environment, you notice that people always come to you for solutions. That is because they've discovered that you have the required skills and competency on the job. So another point is you possess confidence to deliver on the job. I've mentioned it yet. Technically competent employees can easily work on complex projects and deliver efficiently on the job. This is due to leveraging emerging technological advancements to enhance their performance. And finally, promotion and recognition. So demonstrating technical competence often leads to promotion and recognition within the organization. Employees with exceptional technical skills are more likely to be considered for career advancement opportunities. So I'm sure that everybody is familiar with this, right? If you have the required skills, if you have the competency, there's no doubt even when you're not there, they will fight for you for your promotion and for your growth. Now, I'm going to add one more point to it, that it also leads to personal fulfillment, right? The benefit of technical competency, it also leads to personal fulfillment. You have that fulfillment that, okay, no matter where they come out from on this job, I'll be able to kill it, I'll be able to deliver on it. And that takes us to the final slide I have here. And it says, can somebody read this thing? I want us to read it together. Can we all unmute and read this quote together?
The question
The
is
question isn't who is going to stop me, it's who is going to stop me. I am.
Great. So this is the final slide I have here. It said that question isn't who is going to let me, it's who is going to stop me, right? So many people are like, in the last session we had, somebody was saying that, oh, my boss, what if they did not call me for interview? What if they did not do that for me? So what I'm trying to bring out from here is that it is not about who is going to let me do this thing or who is going to give me the job. It is about who is going to stop me, because I want to put all my energy to achieve this technical competence we are talking about. So who is going to stop me? And I've used the picture of this car because, of course, many of us are familiar with Ferrari F8 Turbo, right? So the speed of the light, right? So that is the kind of energy we should take to our job. From next week, Monday going forward, we should all develop this technical competency. You should develop the passion for the job first, right? And then by the time you are exuding that passion for the job, that technical competency will naturally flow in, and then you start accelerating on the job. So that brings us to the end of the session. Questions, answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Richard. I really, really, really do applaud you for this session and for everything that you've said, and you would not have said it any better. Thank you so much. If you all have got questions, I've really appreciated, just because we have like 40 minutes to go, I would have really appreciated if we drop the questions in the chat box, so it's just easy to quickly read and then disseminate. Anyways, since we've got Feyintoluwa here, so Feyintoluwa, quickly ask your question so we can respond to you. Feyintoluwa, are you there? You're on mute anyways if you're trying to answer. Anyways, while we wait for her, is there anyone who's got any questions? Now, see, there's a question in the chat box which I saw. I think the person was trying to say, I'm trying to get through my ICANN program. What are the technical skills that I would be needing? I would have thought that would depend on the kind of job you get to do right after right after when the type of job you do, because although you may have studied accounting or not, or you're doing ICANN or not, it depends on your role. So I'll let Richard answer that quite quickly, and then I will go to Doherty.
Okay, thank you very much. So for that question, like Orelu has mentioned, depending on the kind of job you're applying for, right? But let's just say that you are applying for an accountant role. The basic skills that will be required of you is, one of them is the computer literacy skills, right? So even though it's a soft skills, it is like very important. Then the other part is knowledge of international financial reporting standards, right? Then another skills would be preparing your financial statement, having at least a basic knowledge of preparing your financial statement. Then you also have data analysis skills, ability to, of course, interpret data that's been provided to you, making sense out of the data that's been provided to you, and so many other skills, depending on the area of field in which you're going to eventually specialize in, right? Yeah, so those are the key areas. But you can also check more skills online and can research
Yeah.
about it and get more skills.
What I'm just going to add to that is, see, listen, wherever it is that you eventually land in terms of the kind of job you do, you would automatically see the sort of things that are being done. So, for instance, financial statements being prepared, data imputing, you would see the kind of stuff that is being done. The only thing that I want you to do is to come to some level of self-consciousness and awareness as to, if you ever think you don't know something that is being done right there that relates to your responsibilities, you then need to start shouting, I don't know how to do this. How can I do it? And you must start looking for solution within your organization and outside of your organization. So if your organization is providing you with training about, so for instance, Excel, for instance, if you're basic with Excel and you're seeing that you need some advanced level of Excel skills, it means you need to go and learn it, especially if your organization is not providing you that level of training. So what you then need to do is to say, go to YouTube. YouTube is like a university of its own. So go to YouTube, go and learn, attend trainings like this, whatever. There are a lot of Excel sort of tips and tricks everywhere. People have produced as content. So for instance, just do all of that. That will be really helpful. What I don't want you to do is to know that you don't know something and not try not to know. So because cumulatively over the years, it then tells on your career. Because if you don't know something and you're not immediately asking what this is, or you're not immediately taking action, then that will impact you badly. Duety, are you there?
Alright, so this is Deborah. You're Deborah. Okay.
Oh,
Yes. Okay,
okay,
so
sorry.
yeah, so I just wanted to, I don't know, it's sort of it's like a question, but it's also like a contribution. So sometimes I feel like, for me personally, sometimes I be like, okay, there's a conversation in, maybe in the office via Teams meeting or something, and there's a question thrown out, and deep down I feel like I know it, right? But there's this fear to say it, that okay, I know it. Then someone now answers, and I'm like, oh, okay, that was actually what I had in mind to say. Then later on, I now start trying to now just contribute to fleshing it up. So sometimes I always ask, is it that we undermine, is like, how do you, I don't know how to say it, how do you break free from that kind of situation? I don't know. That's
Yeah,
what I just
so
wanted to know.
see, Deborah, I'm going to just take it and I'm going to answer it. I remember when I just joined the UK firm, that happens to me a lot, even when I was back in Nigerian firm. I would know an answer. 99% of the time, I'm correct because I pride myself to be really brilliant and smart. Unfortunately, sorry for being proud on this call. I'll know it, but I will never say anything. So I saw people who are not as intelligent as I am or as smart as I am or whatever, saying just half of the stuff I would typically have said, and they were getting away with it. They were getting the visibility. People are like, oh, you're so good. I'm like, but I just thought of it, but I could have said it. So I think it boils down to our mind, where our mind is at. A lot of us feel like if we say, so I made a post a couple of days back about losing your fear of embarrassment. It was one of the things that changed my career basically, and that is, if you keep saying, oh, I don't want to be embarrassed, I don't want, you are never going to reach your full potential. If you keep saying, I don't want to be embarrassed, you are never ever going to reach your, the reason is because you're smart already, you're brilliant already. The only reason why you would have been employed anyways is because you're the best one for the job. So if you then get an opportunity to speak up and then be yourself, and you're not taking it, no, but one, you're not doing your job. You are undermining your client, your employer. You're not being loyal to your employer because you're not giving your best. You're not brought your full self to the job. So even if you're not sure, caveat it. This was one of the ways I basically turned that around. I caveat everything. At this time, I don't caveat anymore. So I say, forgive me if this sounds dumb, or I say something like, correct me if I'm wrong, or I say something like, I'm not too sure. That kind of deal. Then you say what you have to say anyways. So you can caveat it and say, but as you go, the more you say, the more courage you get. And then the more confidence you gain, and then once you get to that level of confidence, you just say any rubbish and people will clap for you because you've gotten to that point where you can express yourself, you can be all of yourself, and it will be fine. Okay?
Yeah, thank you very much. Very appreciate that.
No worries. Adebola, you've got a question?
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I want to ask a question in the area of emotional intelligence, because all these things that have been mentioned through our facilitator, person on Mr. Risha, he mentioned a lot of things like interpersonal things, teamwork, and some kind of other things that's there, like time management and other one. So my question is that what in terms of emotional intelligence, or when someone like emotional intelligence, can that person achieve all these things? Please.
Okay, Richard, do you want to take that?
Right. Yeah. Thank you very much, Adebola. Right. So, from the perspective of emotional intelligence, it's actually very key to possess emotional intelligence in the work environment. Even outside work environment, it's a key attribute of every professional to possess. So, like your question is trying to say that if you don't have that emotional intelligence and you are technically sound, right, that how can you achieve? So you can slightly relate it to what I said before on interpersonal skills. So emotional intelligence is being able to understand others' perspective of things, right? So if you are being asked to do something and somebody is saying this is how you should do it, especially if it's a more superior person, you must be able to, lower your ego, right? And try to see the reason why the other person is doing asking you to do it the way they want to do it. So trust me, emotional intelligence is very key aspect of every job. And you might not go far if you're unable to, you know, like just like separate the difference between where you have to step down a bit and then where you have to act, right? So emotional intelligence also means that knowing when to speak. When somebody is angry and they are giving you a feedback angrily, and because what you did, what you did was right. Emotional intelligence helps you say that, okay, no, don't talk at this time. Let me stay back for now. Maybe I can go back and meet this my boss and explain that this is what actually happened, right? So it's actually very important, and I love the question. So beyond you just saying that I want to achieve my objective, I'm very good on the job. I know what I'm doing. You must also be able to embrace emotional intelligence in dealing with your colleagues, both top to bottom and bottom to top. What I mean is that both to your bosses and also to your subordinates, you must be able to embrace emotional intelligence. So it's very key. I don't know if Orelu has other things to contribute on that, but
No, I
it's
think
very key.
yeah, I think you've nailed it. I think that makes a lot of sense. Kudus.
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity, right? So I think I would just like to ask question around um how technical competency can lead to building confidence. And so I think how is this possible? Because I've seen a situation where I'm being opportune to interview a couple of senior accountants recently, and find a way around giving me an alternative answer. So how do technical competency, how does it relate to confidence, or how can this help us to build confidence? I think there's a need for us to address that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kudus, and thank you for joining us. Kudus is a couple of you guys will know Kudus in it. So thank you so much for coming to join us here and asking that question as well. In my opinion, I think it's a loop kind of relationship between performance and confidence. That's how I see it. Now, if you're technically competent, there is this sort of energy that you have, because you know that no matter how complex the work is and they bring that work to you, you would be at the minimum, you will be able to, dissect it, understand it, know it, develop some sort of framework to reach the goal, the end goal. So you may not know how you will get from A to Z, but you know A, and you know if you know A, you know B, and then you move like that. So you're able to develop a framework. What that does is people begin to tell you that you're good. When people begin to say nice things to you, just the way Richard has been telling us, we know Richard is super good at what he does. So the more people tell you, oh, you're good, oh, you solved this problem, you did this, and then you're getting that feedback, both formal and informal. People are giving you that sort of feedback, and you're getting it. It begins to bring you to that consciousness that you are not regular. It begins to bring you to that consciousness that you're not the average person, and then you begin to by yourself begin to operate at that level of, I don't want to use the word supernatural, but you are not in the same sort of arena like the others. So you begin to come back consciousness, and all that does for you is you begin to ask for more things, and people begin to trust you with more things. And as such, you can, for instance, walk into the office of the boss of your boss to discuss technical issues. Just because you've got to that point where they respect what you have to say, and you know that they do. And some people even get to the point of, when they get to that level of competence, they begin to ask for higher salary, they begin to ask for a bigger office, they begin to ask for bigger responsibilities, so the way begins to open for them. And that's the loop between confidence and technical competence. So, and don't forget, the underlying or the crux of the whole matter, why you have been employed in the first place, is to solve problems when they arise. So even if you're good, you're all smiley, you can work with people, you're chatty, but they give you a task, takes forever, and they have to pursue you and pursue you and chase you and chase you and chase you. People don't want to trust you with nothing. And so the people begin to engage you lesser and lesser and lesser. At some point, if you got people who are really can FaceTime with you, they just tell you, you know what, you're not good, basically, and that's going to just break you down. Versus someone who is obviously good and everybody just pours the praise on you, and then you begin to work at that level where you can ask for more things and all of that. So I think it's a loop kind of. So the more confidence you have, the more you invest back into your career in terms of technical competence, and then the more technical competent you are, the more sort of opportunities you get, and then you begin to grow that confidence. Hopefully I've been able to answer that, Kudus, but yeah, I think that's all I've got for now. Thank you. I've got a question here. We need to join another call for those who want to join the call on the MBA networking. Networking is really key for everyone's career, whether you're going for MBA or not. And I think that call is really important. But someone has asked the question, what kind of technical skills do I need as an audit semi-senior and as an audit senior? Just because I'm in that audit line, let me just quickly answer that question. So if I've got seniors on my job, the kind of things I would expect them to be doing. So the kind of skills, of course, you need that Excel skill. Basically, you need to be on top of that. There are some other tools as well that you can use. So it depends on where you work. If you've got digital tools that are rolling in, so especially if you work with big firms or mid-tier firms, they've got all those tools they use in getting work done. Make sure you're on top of it. If some firms will build those tools, people will not use them. So make sure that you're on top of that. Another thing is you need the reading skills. Auditors need to read. So you need to read. If you're signing off on the financial statements, you need to read the financial statements you're signing off on. You need to read. You need to read on industry-related teams and stuff, bringing yourself to trends, understanding stuff. So not just going on threads or on Instagram or TikTok. You need to read what you're doing, and then of course you need to start learning how to delegate, manage team, project manage at your own level. One key one is escalation and seeing issues through from start to finish. So the issues on the job you do, your ability to see those issues through from start to finish will be really key for you. And lots of things, basically. So stakeholder management, making sure that if there's an issue, you see it through from start to finish and all of that. But in terms of technical stuff, you just need to understand the market that you operate in, understand your client's business. That will be really key for you. In the case that a manager a particular task to be carried out by a specific staff, my question is, how do I convince my manager that I can carry out that? Okay. Richard, do you want to take that one? How do you convince the manager that you can work?
Okay, yeah. So we actually have different ways to convince your manager that you can deliver on the task, right? And first of all, is by demonstrating interest. I know that it's very easy for we to as managers to get used to working with some certain people. For
Yeah.
example, personally now, I have a particular colleague of mine, one of my staff. If you give her a work in the morning, she will deliver it before afternoon.
Mm.
So I would rather. So I have some people that when I give them the work, I will chase them first day, second day, third day before they can deliver. So I would rather give that same person three different tasks and she will deliver before the end of the day than to give somebody that I'll be chasing up and down. Now, so how do you convince me, for example, to say, give me this task? Is by showing your interest, right? By showing your interest and not disappointing on that interest. So when I'm giving you the work for the first time, let's take for example, and you told me that you can deliver this work by close of business, and close of business, I did not see anything from you. Following that, I did not see anything from you. Of course, you have already break that kind of trust that I have in giving you the job. So it's important that you convince me by delivering as at when due. Then another
Mm.
thing is to also give me evidence. So I know that this might be difficult, but if you can give me a proof or something to show that I've done something similar before for other managers or for other people, and I've delivered efficiently, that you can even go and meet this person and confirm from them what I did. So that
Mm.
kind of referral kind of thing can also help the current manager to say, okay, this guy I can consider you for this job to do, right? So in audit field, I guess this person is in audit field, right? In audit,
Mm.
is trust me, it's very easy for you to break grounds, right?
Mm.
In a particular field. I have my guy that used to do audit of PPE and like it started when it was starting afresh. They were only giving him basic aspect of the work, right? But when the day he was able to convince them that I can do this entire work alone, say if you give me everything, I will do it alone by myself.
Mm.
From that day, they begin to see him as a key member of the audit team. So any work that is not done, pass it to him, he will do it. And
Mm.
before you know it, the next engagement he can deliver on almost everything that they assign to him. So you must be able to show that interest and then be able to convince that manager that I can do it. And you can also ask for referrals around my work. So I know Oyolua can have some ideas as a
Yeah.
manager in one of the big fours too.
And I've worked with a lot of teams and I've worked with a lot of people who are like career starters. And I can tell you for free that if you are good, it is easy. I can almost tell you that I recognize fantastic people from like the first 2 or 3 meetings we have. That you I just know that you have potential. So I don't want to use the word good. I know you have potential. And this is one of the ways. We can't talk about technical competence without talking about confidence when talking. Now, when people give you work to do, because I said it initially that it's a loop. When Kudus asked me that question, I said it that it's a loop. When I am chatting to you, for instance, and I'm asking you something, the little you know should be communicated to me as confidently as you possibly can. The little you know. Because what that tells me is that even though you might, in fact, at that point, I may not be engaging your technical competence. I don't, it's not every time you get the chance to get how technically competent someone is, but being able to carry yourself in that light of when you're talking, you're not doing, you are just like, see, listen, the way you carry yourself, the little you know, if you say it confidently, people will have this notion that you know what you're doing, even if you don't. Every meeting I get to, there are lots of meetings I get to, and I say load of crap. And I mean it, even me that I'm saying it, I know that I'm saying crap because even my sort of adjoining all my thoughts together, I can't put it together, but I say it anyways. So I say A and say P and say O and then move it back around. So sometimes people like, do you want to gather your thoughts together? But like, okay, give me some minutes. I mean, but other than me, be like, oh, well, I don't know. So it's a loop. You have whatever you know, say it as confidently as you can. And then when people give you a task, no matter how little that task is, do it well. Do it extremely well and carry people along. So I tell you to generate a report for me, for instance. Even if that report will take you 5 hours, so far as, okay, let me go back. I just have a lot to say and I don't have the time. Let me step back a bit. Listen, there is always a time, there is always a anytime you get on a job or you're working with someone for the first time or you're working with a group of people for the first time, there is an incubation time. The first 2-3 months of working with those people, anything your immediate boss wants, do it with all your power. Spend that time, invest the time. You are creating the initial impression of dependability, reliability, and trust. Do it as much as possible. Some people will be building credibility 2 years after they've joined that, and people already know that they don't bring anything to the table. In the first 1, 2, 3 months is when all your gas should be burning, all the cylinders should be burning. Put in the hours as much as you can. Of course, don't burn out and don't run into the ground, but put in the time. Now, people like, if I have this job, I know what to give. If I have this task, I know what to give. So once you do that, and then you've gotten to that place where you see that they're now giving you enough tasks. Amazing. Now, in the case of which you feel like they don't trust you enough, you need to start the conversation by initiating it. So you go that particular manager, so you reach out to them to say, see, I can do much more than you think. For instance, you also need to identify what you can do. So for instance, if that person you're working with, your senior, whoever you're working with, is doing report A, B, C, D, E, don't do like I don't care. That report they are doing, they could use some help. Say, I know you prepared this report that you sent to the board, or you prepared this report that you sent to the MD. Let me do the first draft for you. No, I can't try it. They'll be like, really? They'll just give it to you. They'll be like, just give it to me like days before it's ready for them to send to the boss. And then you try your hands on it. I will not tell you what I am not doing. In my own case, there's a report that my senior manager always does. I asked him like 2 weeks back to say, can I do this report this time? He was like, oh, by all means, knock yourself out. I'm doing that report now. So same applies to everyone. You need to identify it. What is my immediate person doing, immediate higher person doing that I can help with? Tell them that you want to help them. That's how you start. That's how you crawl into competence. So once you do that, they will give you that task. Please, so when they give it to you, don't mess it up, because that is what matters at this point. Do your best and then carry them along. Don't just take things off of them and then you put it down. And for 2 weeks, you're not even telling them anything. And when they did this, asking you, be like, I've not even had a chance. You told me to do B, C, D. You must also carry them along in terms of like status updates and all of that. I'm talking too much and we need to go. So yes, hopefully we've been able to answer your question. There is one, what kind of technical skills do I need as an intern with BSc Economics? I believe it's not what you studied in school. It is the work you're doing. So you need to, like I've said before, you need to identify the work you're doing right now. What are those things you need to do or you need to know to keep you on track? If you need to know Excel, if there are some tools they use, even as little as QuickBooks. The first time I ever used QuickBooks was when I was a finance manager for a startup. I went to learn how to do QuickBooks from YouTube, basically. I'd never used it before. So I need to learn how to generate this report, that report, whatever. So you also would need to do that from your perspective on your job. Is there any other question? We've really run out of time. We need to join the other call. Any other question? Thank you so much, Richard. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. This is the second time you're really helping us run one of these sessions. We're really grateful. Thank you for spending your time, for even putting together those slides. You're so amazing. Thank you so much. We've got Tosin who's joined us as well. He's one of the mentors. Thank you so much, Tosin, for joining us. And Kudus, thank you. Kudus is like how do I call it? This is like how do they call those people? Visiting mentor. Do you have anything to say in a minute, just so we can also hear from you?
Visiting professor, as usual.
I think we are good there. If I'm going to summarize this, I think the need to build technical competency cannot be overemphasized, right? Because in today's workforce, in today's work landscape, right, where things are fast changing, and you know, you can easily get redundant. And so the best thing you can always do, of course, is to be on the lookout, to look out for the next possible thing you need to do to improve your skills. And just like I think a very great one that I had from this call is the fact that as much as possible, you make your manager's job easy, like your superior, yeah, your immediate superior, let them be comfortable giving you things to do. I think that's one thing that everyone on this call must take away. Like, there are some people who wants to thrive on office politics and all of these things, trying to do eye service and stuff like that. If you are really part of some of those people, I think you need to stop, because your first line of person that need to be impressed about your work is your immediate line manager. And as much as possible, you want to, you know, impress this person such that this person is able to continue to recommend you and talk about you in places where you are not going to be in. Thank you.
All right, I think Aurelua's network is off. Um, Thank you very much, everyone, for joining this session, and do have a lovely evening. I think there's another session ongoing, but probably should share that link with us. If you're on LinkedIn, I don't know if someone has dropped a link to join the group. There is a group mentorship ongoing on LinkedIn. I will try to reshare it on my LinkedIn. And if we have anybody on this platform that can send to us, person can send it on this chat box before everybody leaves so that you can join the LinkedIn platform. All right, thank you. Okay, I think Arolua is back now. Arolua, do you want to say something now? All right. Good night, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, bye.